Some people might have a little rock and roll pneumonia.
You wanted the best, you got the best. From Parsippany, New Jersey at Chiller Theater, I am here with Robert Fleischman. Of course, you know him as one of the early members of Journey. My audience really knows you for Vinnie Vincent Invasion. You're an artist in your own way, right, in terms of actual art. I'm just genuinely thankful to be here with you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I said to Ian, who you work with, not myself, that I wanted to do something with you, but I said in person. I know you do a ton of Zoom interviews, but I feel like there's just less of this where you get to meet people.
Yeah, I like it better this way, actually.
Yeah, I genuinely just appreciate being here, and the amount of people here is, you know, like from all different
I think
years.
it was 10,000.
Yeah, but I even just meant in terms of the guests. It's everyone from like the cast of American Pie to Carl Winslow from Family Matters. Like, it's been like a who's who of different eras in film and TV.
Yeah, I got the privilege to sit next to Dave Davies from the Kinks.
Nice.
So we had a mutual friend, and so it really got a chance to talk to him and know him and share stuff, and it was such a pleasure to be around him because one of my first albums that I got when I was a kid in '64 was like the Beatles album and the Kinks albums and all that stuff. So they're the British Invasion. I grew up on that stuff. So they were mods, and I'm still a mod. I love it.
And that's like what inspired you to get into music, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. When I, you've heard the story from so many musicians. You know, I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah.
So I caught the fever then too. And then I had a cousin who was 8 years older than I, and he took me to see the Beatles at the Hollywood Bowl when I was a kid.
Amazing.
And that was
amazing that you got to do that.
Yeah, that was just incredible. And then years later, I had recorded 4 songs, and I got an appointment to see a publisher at Chrysalis Publishing. So I got this meeting, and I'm sitting there with this gentleman, and he's playing my music, and he's sitting across at his desk, and I'm sitting here. And back in the days, they used to like play the music right in front of you while they listened to it. And so, but anyway, he was like looking over my shoulder the entire time, and like this, and each song would go by, and he'd look over there. So there were 4 songs, and at the end of the last song, he looks over there, and I look, and it's George Martin, the producer of the Beatles.
Yeah.
And he goes to me, "You got some good ones there, lad." And he gives me the thumbs up, and to me it was like getting blessed by the Pope, you know. And I got out of the meeting. I went down, through the lobby, and I go outside, and it's a nice sunny day on the Sunset Strip in Hollywood, and I just said, I'm going to be a songwriter. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a songwriter.
How old are you at this time?
I'm like 19.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I got to meet him 2 other times, and I talked to him about that, and he remembered. Because the setting that the publishing company, they had offices that were all made of cubicles of glass. So it's such a surreal setting. So it's kind of hard not to remember, So he remembered that. So it was really great.
So, as I said, people know your time in Journey. People know the songs you wrote, like Wheel in the Sky. But I think my audience, because we are predominantly like 80s rock, they know the Vinnie Vincent Invasion. Now, I know for you, this was really a period of a few months in your life. Like, did you ever think 40 years later, people would still be celebrating this album that you were a part of?
No, it's, people tell me it's like a cult classic,
It is.
And it's just has this minutia that just keeps growing for some reason. But I gotta admit, that album is so bombastic. And, I've said this before, when I was asked to sing on it and all that, I just kind of took the approach of like getting a big bucket of paint and just throwing it on the canvas. Because it's just that wild, and so fortunately they all the energy and everything got captured, and people have been listening to it, and I don't know, I don't understand, but people just love it, and I accept it, and I think it's a terrific album in the sense of marking that heavy metal span, in time. And when I met Vinnie, he came over to my house, and he had this cassette, and I made some tea and sat down, put the cassette on, and I listened to this stuff, and I'm just going like, I think it was like 3 songs or 4 songs that he had. I can't remember which ones, but I thought, God, this guy can play, and he like great riffs and everything, and I really liked his songwriting. He's a great songwriter. Absolutely great song. So after hearing his songs and the direction he was going, it was just so off the wall that I thought, okay, I'm going to take off my writer's hat and I'm going to just take a ride on this thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what it was. It's just a big ride, a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, I think for the sound, you could either appreciate it or not, because if you do, it was over the top. The image was over the top. The screeching guitars, the guitar solos, and the high notes you're hitting.
Yeah, I know.
It was over the top, and I loved it.
I did too, and it's like, I could sing that way, but I never had the vehicle to sing in that fashion, because if I ever sang in that fashion, if the music was not up to that level of energy and everything, it just was, I stood out. It was just too much, but boom, here's this energy, and it was like a matching tie and handkerchief, and it just went crazy,
Yeah. So people know, who know the history of the band, and Bobby Rock put out a great book called The Boys Who Rock.
Yeah, he's a great writer.
Amazing writer, because I know he's ghostwritten for other people beyond doing his own book. As I said, this was a really short period of time in your life. You did not tour with the band.
Right.
You're replaced by Mark Slaughter pretty early on. So you've probably gotten into it, but what was the reasoning that you didn't stay on and work on what would come of the future album?
Look at it this way. You and I build a house together, and now we're going to sell the house. Well, he sold the house, but I wasn't included in the deal.
Okay.
So later on, Chrysalis was saying to Vinnie, hey, where's the lead singer? Where's Robert? And I was out of the picture because I didn't like what happened.
Yeah.
So I told them all to piss off.
Yeah.
And so I started getting bombarded by calls and everything, come and do this, do that. And I said, no. And then they finally go, well, what do you want? And I just go, well, I want this, and da-da-da-da-da. And so they said, okay. So then I started recording the album. And, but I only, I told them from the very beginning, I'm just doing the album. I don't want to go on tour. I don't want to do any of that stuff. Because I love being in the laboratory. I love being in the studio, my studio or whatever, and recording and writing songs.
It's two different animals, right?
It's two different animals. And me personally, I just don't care about singing live. I don't like, it's like, I see these guys up there and doing everything. It's great, and I'm entertained by it and everything. But for me, it's like, I don't need to be the seal up there and they, throw me the fish,
Yeah.
And I just don't care, because I'd rather just be in a creative setting, just like I paint. That's a creative setting. So recording studios, creative setting. I don't need to go out on a tour bus and everything. I see my friends. They invite me to see them at their shows. They used to fly. They used to be in a tour bus. Now I see them at the end of the show packing up everything and putting it in a frickin' van and driving off for 8 hours. And it goes like, I don't want that life.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I mean, fortunately, I with my royalties and everything that I got from my Journey songs and everything, I don't need to do that. I have the privilege just to be a creative animal and not have to worry about all that other stuff.
So At the height, though, especially after Mark Slaughter replaces you and Slaughter becomes this household name and has 2 or 3 really big hits, was there ever a second thought in your head of like, maybe I should have stuck this out?
Never.
Okay.
Never. I remember people calling me up and say, "Hey, are you going to watch the Vinnie Vincent video?" And I'm going like, "What?" And, yeah, it's going to be on MTV, 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock comes around, I turn it on, and here's this guy, lip syncing to my voice. And actually, that is like the first Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
It is.
Mark Slaughter up there.
Yeah, singing to my, acting like he's singing my voice. But so years go by and stuff, and people ask me about the situation. And I used to slag him a bit, and so I heard an interview with him.
With Mark?
I heard an interview with Mark, and I listened to the whole interview, and I said to myself, I go, this guy's really a nice guy.
He is, and I know him.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, and I thought, this guy has such a good work ethic.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like, he was a young kid at the time, and it was like he was offered a movie deal in a Western, and they go, "Can you ride a horse?" And he goes, "Yeah, I can ride a horse." So he took that opportunity. He rode that horse, and he took it. He did the next album, and he was great on it. And I just, he had the opportunity. He grabbed it, and you can't slag anybody for that.
Absolutely, and I do think it was a great album. But what's kind of lesser known, it's funny, you have all the CDs up here up on your table that people are buying, getting autographed. One CD I don't see here that I think is lesser known is that you sang on the Euphoria album all these years later.
Yeah, well that isn't out. I did that maybe like 35 years ago. So after all the fiascos and everything like that, Vinnie called me up and asked me if I would sing on his demos. So I said, okay, I said, you just pay me for each song. So he paid me for each song, but now 35 years later, he's trying to revive it, and he's going to put it out, I guess, someday.
Well, but I mean the Euphoria EP, right, with Full Shred.
I haven't, I think.
Euphoria, Full Shred.
Yeah.
Because I have that actually in my bag.
Uh-huh.
And to me, that's a great album that gets overlooked.
Well, I've never heard it.
Okay. But those are your vocals, correct?
I know, yeah, they're my vocals, but I've never heard it, and I've heard all these different incantations of it.
Because they put out the EP
because
and they put out Euphoria.
Yeah, but I think what he's trying to do now, this album that he's trying to put out now, is that stuff.
Yeah.
But he's remixed it or something like that.
But I love those songs. I think those songs
I don't
are
even
phenomenal.
remember them.
That's crazy because to me, as I said, like the high notes on the first album, but the high notes on those are just, and this was 90s, I believe.
Yeah.
And like I'm blown away by your vocals on that.
It's stupid.
No, I love it. It's an album I constantly revisit,
Wow.
and I still, it's still in major rotation.
Is it on YouTube?
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna pull this out for Robert right here because I have it in here as we're recording. Because I was like, I want Robert to check this out. I of course have the Invasion album. I know I'm off camera here, guys, but you can hear me.
Bring those over here, and I'll sign them for you.
Thank you, Robert. But yeah, this is the Vinnie Vincent Euphoria, and I mean, as far as I know, unless I'm mistaken, it is your voice on all of these tracks.
Yeah.
And this was put out actually at conventions like these that Vinnie put out during, I think, the mid-90s. I don't know if there's a date on there, but I believe like we're talking 95 or...
Right. Wow. Do you want me to sign this?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
But we can do it after the interview if you want. But I was wondering your experience with creating that, because the thing that's interesting to me about
like I said,
Euphoria,
those I was brought in to do these demos.
Yeah.
So that's what this is, the demos that I sang on.
And but the thing that's interesting to me, so if you remember at least time frame, we're talking like mid-90s here when he recorded these, right?
I think so.
And so the interesting thing to me is so many of those bands that would be considered hair metal or glam from the 80s, and thank you so much, tried to update their sound. They tried to go grunge. They tried to go industrial. And to me, Vinnie always stayed true to this type of sound. And your vocals on there stay very true to that type of sound.
Right.
And which I think is a testament to you guys.
Well, I just matched. I just, complimented what the music was. I mean, that high energy. I mean, it's just that high energy. And so, if I were going to sing like a crooner on it, it just wouldn't be a matching tie and handkerchief,
And people also notice as you're signing there, your image was very different than the other guys.
Oh, well, that's another story.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you again.
I go to the photo session, and my hair was like one length and down to here, and the stylist goes, "We got to do something with his hair." So
thank you.
The next thing I know, I'm sitting there and I'm getting my hair cut, and all of a sudden they're just, fuck, and then all of a sudden I walk out looking like a frickin' poodle, and I was just livid at that for doing that to me, but it's there. But
it was of the time.
Well, it wasn't of my time. I would have never done that.
Yeah.
I thought they were just going to give me a little bit of a trim or something but not give me a whole fucking, like I went down to the beauty shop or something like that.
So I know, like in Bobby's book, he talks about the recording process of all this. You talk about Vinnie's skill as a songwriter. I don't know if he gets into this. I know the music, most of it was written by Vinnie. Did you write all the lyrics on that first album?
No, I only wrote. What song is that?
You're like, I got to look at the credits here.
Yeah, I did the lyrics on Invasion and Do You Want to Make Love?
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the rest were Vinnie?
Yeah, all the rest was Vinnie.
I mean, he's such a multi-skilled guy. I think the fact that whether it is like writing a very catchy riff, catchy hook, but then also the soloing, and then the lyricism on top of that.
Yeah. Well, he kind of revived Kiss, didn't he?
Yeah. I agree with that. I wholeheartedly think he did.
Yeah.
You think
but
of these songs that he had his hand in.
He could write anything. I mean, he can play anything. He, like country western. I think his parents played country western music. I think his parents played music, and I think that's where it all kind of came from. But he can play any style. He's just that way.
Yeah. What was your impression of the other guys, of Dana Strum, of Bobby Rock?
I love Bobby. I was, Vinnie and I guess Dana, we were at SIR on Santa Monica Boulevard, which is a rehearsal studio for a lot of record, bands that are signed to record companies. We were there, and we had like a calling people coming in, all these drummers coming in, setting up, playing. Okay, next. And so Bobby comes like literally just coasting into the driveway because he's almost out of gas, and he takes his drums out, puts them up, starts fooling around with them, and I'm just going, this is the guy. And I go, Vinnie, this is the guy. And so then Vinnie's asking him, can you play this? Can you play that? I ask him, can you play this? Can you play? And he's just, playing, and he's ambidextrous, and he's just like such a monster. And I go, this is the guy. I tell you, this is the guy. And Vinnie's going, yeah? I go, yeah. So we got Bobby, and I really championed him, and I think he's such a kind-hearted person, and he's just intelligent, very health conscious.
Oh yeah.
And he's very, he's just a good human being.
And in the book, he does go into the monotony of the recording process.
Well, yeah.
Of Vinnie.
I was there for like 3 days, and I couldn't take it anymore because Vinnie wanted him to play to a drum machine.
Yeah. And he wanted him right on time with the metronome, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. So I love music that has a human feel to it, but it worked. if nobody knows the story, you would never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was there during all that. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a great book if you guys haven't picked up The Boy Is Gonna Rock.
Yeah.
So look, there's a lot of history to get into. We can't do it all, but fast forward to 2018, I think, or 2017, the Atlanta Kiss Expo.
Yes.
I think it's 2018, where you reunite. Oh, is it on here, right?
Yeah, I think so. 2018, yeah, you're correct.
2018,
January 20th.
So you reunite with Vinnie after basically, and I did a video on this, like 2 decades of seclusion where no one has really heard from the guy.
Right.
Did you ever think that was going to happen? Did you ever think that there'd be that crowd of people celebrating your work with Vinnie the way they were?
No. But then again, you have the Kiss Army, which is
unlike anything else,
There's
right?
nothing like it,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I saw him in the parking lot. Everybody's going, Vinnie's here, Vinnie's here. Come on, let's go see him. So I would go to the parking lot and see him, and big hugs and all that stuff. And then it was time for him, and he was up on stage, and he was up there with an acoustic guitar, and he's kind of singing and telling these stories, and it was like watching a storm coming. And it started getting darker and darker in there, and the stories were getting darker and sadder and all that. And then he started playing. What song?
I know he did One in a Million by Kiss.
Yeah, but what song did I sing with him?
Back on the Streets?
Back on the Streets,
yeah.
I guess. So I heard him, he was going to play Back on the Streets, and I was at my booth like this, and they were over there. So I thought, I'm going to get closer and listen to him do the song. So, so I get up closer, and everybody on the side of the stage who were associated with him kept going like, "Come on over here, come on." So I go over there, and they're going, "You have to go on stage with him. Go on stage with him." I go, "No, this is his day. This is his moment. Let him be. No, you got to go up there." So literally, they grabbed me by my elbows, and 2 guys, and go put me right on the stage and here on me up there. And people are like kind of watching this whole thing going down, and they're like watching this, And then finally, I'm up there, and then people just went cuckoo, and I don't think he knew what was going on. And then he's sitting at this chair, and he's sitting around this chair, and so I just sat right on the edge of the chair like that, next to him. And he just lit up like a
We'll
like a
show some of that
candle.
video on screen, because
Yeah,
that's all out
he
there.
just lit up, and it really made his day. And I felt like if I hadn't gone up there, I think everybody would have gone home and slit their wrists.
Because, it's a sad story, a lot of it.
Yeah, and so that kind of broke that whole thing, and that was actually the first time I ever played in front of people with him. So I never played live with him at all.
And the other thing I'm wondering, because as you're saying, you weren't preparing to go up there with him.
I wasn't.
Were you like, do I even know the words to Back on the Streets?
Exactly. It was all like off the cuff kind
But
of.
you remembered it all, right?
Sort of.
Okay. So more recently, Vinnie was supposed to be here at this convention. He canceled. There was talk of you guys doing shows together. What's going on today? And we'll get into what you're up to now, just as solo artist Robert Fleischman. But
Yeah.
What's the story behind that for people wondering?
I really don't know, and me playing with him here and all that, I never knew about that. That was something that he said to the promoters. So.
But I just knew he would be here. He was supposed to. At
Well,
least be doing
yes, he
what
was
you were
supposed to be
doing.
here, but something happened between the promoter and him, and he didn't show up, and so I was obligated to come here, so I came. And
Which we're very pleased to have you here. In New
Yeah,
Jersey.
it was really terrific. We had a great 3 days of this. It was
awesome.
great. But he wants me to do something with him in February, somewhere, Nashville or Atlanta or something like that. And I'll talk to him about it and see what's going on. But I'm just grateful to been associated with the bands that I've been involved with, and it's like I always say, life is about making a movie. Make the best movie you can make.
Absolutely.
So that's what I try to do.
And you have. I mean, if you look at the discography on this table, and like I said, this wasn't even on here, which is a great one. There's so much, from your past history.
So
all
can
these
you
decades.
buy those?
This is very hard to find.
Okay,
I got it on eBay.
I see.
But on some of these,
What'd you
it's
pay for
labeled.
it?
I don't remember.
Was it ridiculous?
Not ridiculous, no.
Over
no.
$30?
Oh yeah, definitely over $30
Oh, really?
for
Okay.
sure. But I don't know, maybe close to $100 or something. But
really?
Some of these it'll say Euphoria, and some of them it'll say the EP. It's the same songs on them, but
maybe
this
the
is some of my
ones,
favorite work of yours. It
maybe
really
the
is.
earliest ones were the EP ones.
Yeah.
And then it came with that.
But I'm just wondering, when you say you're going to do something with him in the future, at this point, is it just hard to trust this guy because this is not out of the ordinary, Vinnie canceling an appearance.
Well,
this is how he's been.
You just play it by ear.
Yeah. Do you still get along well with the guy? I mean,
oh,
for
yeah,
a lot of people, they just have horror stories of working with him.
Yeah, I know. We text. He texts me. Actually, I was very surprised, but he said, "I want to endorse your album, your new album. I love your album." And I'm going like, "What?" Because I was really surprised. So he actually put something on his page praising my new album, encouraging people to get it, and that was very lovely.
It's an interesting thing because if you watch Vinnie's interviews, which I do, I'm such a fan of this music, he's always been super complimentary of you, not so much Mark Slaughter. I don't know why, but that's...
I think it's because the record company pushed Mark Slaughter on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't want that, and he wanted to continue, making records with me, and I think that's where it all derived from, and that kind of bit of animosity or whatever, but yeah, that's basically it.
And to me, both of the studio albums are great albums. They're just different. Mark sings very different from you. I think it's a different flavor to those songs.
He wanted Mark to emulate me.
Yeah.
Basically.
But Mark is his own
exactly,
singer,
exactly. And I wouldn't want to be Mark to have to do that either.
Yeah, and I think
because
Mark wouldn't have had the success if he didn't have that talent.
Right. It's like okay, let's erase half of your character.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a very unique style that you can't emulate.
Right.
So I want to make sure we talk about what you're doing now, because you're not a guy who's just all about nostalgia. Like, you do have a deep history, but you have constantly been making albums, including an album that you just put out.
Right. Yeah, I just put out a album called Emotional Atlas, and for about 6 years I did nothing but paint, and I show in galleries, and like in Chicago and Florida and New York and all that. But anyway, so 6 years of painting. I go to a dinner party. Everybody says, "You got to make another album." And I'm driving home. I'm thinking, "Oh, let me see." So I get home and I grab my guitar and I sit on my couch and I plunk it, and I just go, "I can't do another body of music with guitars."
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I used to hitchhike from Torrance, California to Santa Monica, and Oberheim synthesizers. They used to assemble their synthesizers at a bicycle shop. So I would hitchhike down there and go there and hang around, and then finally they go, "Hey, you want to solder?" So I go, "Okay." So I'm soldering and on synthesizers, these Oberheim synthesizers, and I kind of got the bug. And then I met this guy who was there. His name was Paul Beaver, and Beaver and Klaus. They were very cutting edge and used natural sounds like birds and stream sounds, of water and all that, and then they would mix synthesizers along with it. And so I kind of got interested in that, and then I was invited to go to his house, and I went to Paul Beaver's house, and he was on the phone talking to Robert Moog synthesizers.
Okay.
And so I kind of caught the bug, and then later on I was friends with Leon Russell, and Leon Russell had an ARP synthesizer there, and I used to play with that. And and when I went on tour with my Perfect Stranger album, what I did for Arista Records, I had a Prophet synthesizer. So after the tour and everything, I started fooling around with the Prophet synthesizer and recording, and then I started really liked what I was doing, and then I would borrow other people's synths, and I'd borrow them for a week or so. And I created.
Yeah, pull it up. You got the vinyl, you have the CD.
Yeah,
Oh, so this is not the latest, right? The latest.
Yeah, I did these in '84.
Oh wow, okay.
And I never released them until 2004, because in 2004 you could manufacture your own CDs.
Yeah.
So I had this dormant for all those years, and I thought I'm going to put it out. Of
course.
So this one's an ambient one.
Okay.
And this one's like a techno one.
So
but
it's safe to say this is nothing like the Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Oh no, this is all electronic music.
Yeah.
And so, so after I got through thinking I can't do another album with guitars, I'm just like sick and tired of the template. And I thought, I know what I want to do. I want to revisit what I did, but put vocals on it, because I always wanted to put vocals on this, but it wasn't structured for it.
Sure.
It wasn't in a song form. So I decided that I was going to do an electronic album and sing on it. And so then I started buying synths and different modules and things like that, and I put this album together.
And that's, you might as well put it up. That's, we got the vinyl right here, you got the CD. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the album cover. I designed this.
It's a great cover. You got the CD over here.
And then there's the inside.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So is that painted by you, or?
No, I do collage. I've done collage ever since I was 13.
Okay.
So they're collage, and then here's the inside.
You can tell you put a lot of thought into this.
And then here's this incredible blue vinyl.
I love it. If you're a vinyl collector, guys, you got to pick this up. So even though this is nothing like Vinnie Vincent Invasion, do you think those fans will be able to appreciate your new stuff?
I don't know. It's the most adventurous thing I've ever done, and I'm very, very proud of it. And I have a song that I wrote called Great Lake View, and I think it's one of the best songs I've ever written.
Excellent.
And here's the yellow vinyl. And comes with a poster. Thanks for letting me do this.
Oh, of course. Why not? This is. I'm looking very forward to hearing it.
So here's the poster, and then on the back side are all the lyrics.
Okay. Which, if you're old school, I think people love to see all that.
Yeah,
they
it's
love
like,
to see who wrote everything. Which,
yeah.
And it's 100% Robert Fleischman.
Yeah, it's just all me. It's that I always love the old '60s vinyl. I mean, English pressings with the album covers are all the glossy,
So cool. Dig it, man. Very cool.
So
very cool.
I think it's. I put a lot of work into the visuals and into the sonic part also. So, like I said, you can hear it also if you have Spotify or you have YouTube or Amazon, iTunes.
Yeah.
It's in Dolby Atmos.
Okay.
So it's immersive. So if you listen to it in your car, which you have more than 4 speakers in your car, then you get the immersive experience.
I can't wait to hear it like that.
And then on the headphones too, if you have Dolby Atmos headphones, it really sounds good. But it's a really good ear pod or headphone music to listen to. It's cool.
I love that you're still driven to whether it's creating art, making music, being a part of that, and still doing what you're doing at your age, at this point in your career. Last question I had, because I don't want to take up all your time here. I know you guys are packing up.
Much as you want.
Yeah. Well, the last thing I was wondering, when you were talking about, the Atlanta Kiss Expo, and you were saying the Kiss fans are unlike any other fans, the Kiss Army.
Right.
Even though, unlike Vinnie, you didn't really have any part in Kiss, you're sort of an extended part of that family because of what you did with Vinnie. So, as I'm sure you know, we just recently lost Ace Frehley.
Yeah.
Ever have any interactions with Ace Frehley?
Well, I got to see Ace 5 years ago. I think it was at the Atlanta thing, I believe. But yeah, I wrote with Gene. I've written songs with Gene. He came to my house. I have my studio there, and we wrote some songs together. And
I had no idea of that.
Yeah, and then he called me up and said, "Hey, you remember that song we did?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "Yeah, well, anyway, I want to put that song on the vault." So I have a song on the vault.
Nice.
And then when he was in Vegas promoting the vault, I was asked to come, and I went to Vegas and met with Gene there and stuff like that. So I've been friends with Gene for many, many years, and he's always been very nice to me. I could call him up, he calls me right back, or he calls me within an hour or so. And my son and his son went to the same school.
Okay.
So
very interesting, like the connection there.
yeah.
Too,
So
over the years.
The first time I spoke to him, I had a band called Crown of Thorns. And so he called me up, and because he had this band that he thought it would be cool if that band was called Crown of Thorns. So he asked me if I was still using the name. And I said, "No, I'm not using the name. It was just a project." And he goes, "Cool, could I use it?" And I said, "Yeah, go ahead, use it." So that's how our relationship started.
Which, yeah, it's crazy to think too, because of the whole Vinnie thing. Gene seems much more almost like forgiving of Vinnie. The fact that he did invite Vinnie out to a vault thing, I don't think Paul would have extended something like that. But what about Ace in particular? Are you a fan of what he did? Are you a fan of his work?
Well, I actually saw him open up for Alice Cooper a couple of years ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Fan of any of his songs, or?
I was never really deep into him and all that stuff, but I respect and know what he did, And
Absolutely.
so, I mean, I told Gene this. I saw Kiss at the Forum in the very beginning of their career, and my friend took Sammy Hagar's place in Montrose.
Okay.
So I went to that show, and Montrose opened up for Kiss.
Wow.
So I saw Montrose play, and then I listened to about 3 songs of Kiss, and I walked out. So I told Gene that. But yeah, but who would know that later on in years that I would be like on the Kiss family tree.
Yeah.
And have interaction with him and write songs with him. And so it's been a great life.
And be invited to all these conventions.
Exactly.
Because of the
It really does kind of stem from that. And like I said, the Kiss Army is, nothing like it.
Yeah. Well, this has been an honor. I mean, these are the stuff with Vinnie in particular, and I'm looking forward to hearing the new work, is just stuff that is in constant rotation for me. Like I said, although you are not familiar with this album that you were a part of, if I'm at the gym or something and I put this on, I put on full shred, I'm amped, man. Like, I think his screeching guitars on that and your vocals, just...
Is a song called Rocks on Fire on there?
No. So there's a song that maybe we don't know about?
Yeah, it's a really cool song. I don't know why he never had it on there. And when I saw him in Atlanta, I had a DAT. You know what a DAT is?
Yeah, the small DAT tapes. Yeah.
I had a DAT of a whole album's worth of stuff that we did, and I gave it to him.
The fans would love to see this stuff. I'm sure.
And I think that DAT is part of what he's going to be putting out too.
If he puts it out, right?
If he puts
because
it out.
It's just, we've heard about stuff that's going to be released for many years now. We heard there was going to be an autobiography. We've heard box set. So
I know.
It's hard being a fan of Vinnie because you're promised that all this stuff is going to come out, and we don't know if it'll see the light of day. I really hope it does. Yeah.
For his sake. I just think him putting it out would kind of be a good amends for him and towards his fans.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And going long. This has been an awesome interview. The legacy of the work that you've done. Guys, check out the latest work from Robert Fleischman. We'll have links to everything below. If you're a vinyl collector, get that. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We'll do more interviews here on Ian Scott Rocks.